يا من هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر الخالق البارئ المصور الغفار القهار الوهاب الرزاق الفتاح العليم.
This is a story of a community on a journey of faith. It is a tale of a people who learn to contain their newfound faith in a crucible of culture, while traversing 4 continents in as many generations. Hailing from the remote towns and villages of Western India, they left their ancestral homes and traveled on bullock carts, eventually embarking on a seabound voyage across the Indian Ocean to an unexplored continent. Some left their homes in search of better pastures, while others sought to find a safe haven from religious strife and persecution in the wake of their recent conversion to a newfound faith. They are known as the Khojas, who originally hail from the land of Sindh, now part of Pakistan, as well as from Kutch and Kathiawar, part of the modern-day state of Gujarat, India. Like many other Indians from Western Indian state of Gujarat, the Khojas now form part of the enterprising transnational community dotted all around the globe.
How did these folks with a Hindu heritage convert to what they are today? Ithna-Asheri Khoja, Sunni Khoja, and Ismaili Khoja. What led to this division within the Khoja community? Where does the community go from here?
Our story began some 650 years ago upon the arrival of a mystic by the name of Sadr Din in the region of Sindh, located between the current borders of Pakistan and India. Here Sadr Din settled in Sindh, where he lived among the rich Hindu landowners of the Indian Lohana caste. Sadr Din successfully convinced them that he brought with him the good tidings of the coming of the 10th incarnation of Lord Vishnu they were waiting for, and his name was Ali. This was his ingenious, and some may say disingenuous, way of converting a number of Lohana Takars to a new faith called Satpanth, meaning true path. Satpanth is a peculiar mystical admixture of Sufic Hindu beliefs. The essence of Sadr Din's teachings were preserved in a book called Das Autar, which, until recently, was considered a primary text for the Khoja Ismaili followers of the Aga Khan. The new faith of Satpanth needed a new identity. Here Sadr Din obliged and bestowed upon these converts a new title. They were no longer to call themselves Takars. Instead, they would now be addressed with the honorific title of Khwaja, a Persian word close to the meaning of the word Takar. This name, Khwaja, eventually became Khoja, a phonetic corruption of the original title. Today, the overall number of the Khojas is very small, considering that there are over 200 million Shia Muslims in the world today. Of those, there are some 400,000 Ismaili Khojas and 150,000 Ithna-Asheri Khoja, and there are less than 10,000 Sunni Khoja. It all started with the arrival in Mumbai of the Aga Khan Hassan Ali Shah, the 46th Imam of the Ismailis. Also known as Hassan Ali Shah Mahalati, he was the son-in-law of the Persian king Fatah Ali Shah and the governor of Kirman province in Persia. Passing via Sindh, Kutch, and Kathiawar, this Persian nobleman eventually settled in Mumbai in 1848. His presence had cataclysmic impact on the Khoja community in Mumbai, sending ripples to parts of Kutch and Kathiawar, in India, and as far as East Africa. At the time, the Khoja community had remnants of the Sadpanthi beliefs, Shia rituals, and Sunni practices. When the Aga Khan attempted to streamline practices and control the assets of the community, he faced dissension from some wealthy quarters. After a decade of debates and dissension, a group of wealthy Khojas, led by merchant Prince Habib Ibrahim, filed a suit in the Mumbai High Court in 1866 against Aga Khan. This case, famously known as the Aga Khan case, was heard by Sir Joseph Arnold. In his 1866 judgment, Judge Arnold ruled that the Khoja community is a sect of people whose ancestors were Hindu in origin, which was converted to, and has throughout abided in, the faith of the Shia Imami Ismailis, which has always been, and still is bound, by ties of spiritual allegiance to the hereditary Imams of Ismailis. The judge also upheld the Aga Khan's right as a spiritual leader to the ownership of community assets, as opposed to those being held as communal property by the Khoja community, as it had been for centuries. Ironically, a British judge who had little or no understanding of Khoja origins or culture largely sealed the fate of the Khoja, permanently dividing the once united community.
The tragic consequences of the separation were also replicated in Karachi. Concurrent with the schisms in the Khoja community in Mumbai and elsewhere in the subcontinent, by 1870s, two Khoja groups had emerged in Karachi. One followed the Aga Khan, and the other group had stopped recognizing the Aga Khan as a spiritual head. The assassinations in Mumbai were actually preceded by a killing in Karachi. On March 2, 1876, a prominent Khoja figure who lived here in this house was attacked by an assailant with a knife. He survived the murderous assault, but 2 years later a bullet was fired at him, and alas, he succumbed to his injuries and passed away. This was Lalan Aladina, the first person in the community to sacrifice his life for practicing the Shia Ithna-Asheri faith.
In addition to offering the first martyr for their beliefs, the Karachi Khoja community has yet another distinction. Located a few yards from the Khoja Masjid in Karadar, this house, known as Wazir Mansion, was owned by Jinabai Punja. In this house was born a Khoja Shia Ithna-Asheri boy on December 25, 1876, who grew up to carve out a new nation and change the map of the world. This was none other than Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founding father of Pakistan. Karachi is the ancestral city of the Sindhi Khojas, who have played a significant role in the evolution of the Khoja community ever since its inception. The Jamaat had a population of less than 3,000 at the time of partition of India in 1947. With the arrival of the Khojas from Mumbai, Kutch, and Kathiawar, today it is over 40,000, making it by far the largest Khoja Shia Ithna-Asheri Jamaat in the world. This massive Karachi mosque here in the Karadar area of Karachi, rebuilt in the late 60s, is wholly occupied on Fridays with over 5,000 worshippers. When first built in the 1800s, the beautiful mosque here was a pride of the place when Khojas densely populated Karadar. The Karachi Jamaat is formally known as the Khoja Pirai Shia Ithna-Asheri Jamaat. The name Pirai has its origins right here at the place where the original Sindhi Khoja used to gather to commemorate the martyrdom of Imam Hussein in Karadar area. Pir is a Sindhi word and a name of a place where people come to perform the Azaa, a mourning ritual around the Alam, a symbol honoring the martyrs of Karbala. After the separation from the Ismaili Khojas, those who had openly declared themselves as Ithna-Asheris came to be known as Pirhai. This location, donated by Ghulam Hussein Qasim, continues with its century-old commemorations, where age-old wooden symbols of mourning, the taziyas, are kept to be taken out for the mourning processions called Julis on the 9th and 10th of Muharram, the day of Ashura. Just a short distance away, the Bara Imambara, established in 1878, is a historic center for Karadar. It is from this Imambara that the well-known reciter Allama Rashid Turabi used to deliver his Sham-e Gariban Majlis on the 11th night of Muharram, relayed live on Radio Pakistan. Thousands of Urdu listeners from around the world would tune in to listen to this solemn rendition, culminating in the 10-day of mourning for the Shias.
सूरह हिजर कलाम मजीद का 15वां सूरा है। ये सूरह की आखिरी आयत है और आखिरी आयत का आखिरी लफ्ज मेरी तकरीर का उन्वान है और वो यकीन।
Karadar was the center of the hub of all the activities. For example, Bagh-e-Zehra Street. Bagh-e-Zehra Street is a place where the Bagh-e-Zehra housing community is there as well. It also has a few other things. Right close to that one is the old Musafir Khana, and it was established way back in 1907 by the Chagla family. In Bagh-e-Zehra is the El Sayeda store not too far from there, and it has an amazing story. The philanthropic Habib family established that store after partition so that people who are moving into the area, into the city, with hardly anything on their backs would come in, get provisions, grocery, food, clothes, etc. at either subsidized rates or sometimes even at no charge. So what it did, it gave dignity to the community that had lost it on their way back. The Chota Imambara was built way before partition by Seth Qasim Hamir. He built that, that became the center of all Khoja activities. One of the earliest monuments in Karachi is a tower that was built by Sheikh Faddu, and that was way back in 1904. It's still a memorable building. The other one is an iconic building called the Khalid Dina Hall that was built by Sindhi Khojas as well. And in fact, that is an interesting history. When the partition, before the partition happened, the British government held a trial, a treason trial, for Maulana Muhammad Ali Johar, the most prominent center, which is called the Mehfil-e-Shahi Khurasan. Having been there many times when we first came to Pakistan, that center just stood for the tranquility, the peace, the calm.
Not many people know that when Quaid-e-Azam began to run the government after the partition, Pakistan did not have a state bank nor any money to run the government. It was the Habibs who wrote a blank check to the government of Pakistan and subsequently helped establish a state bank.
Over the years, an outward movement started from the congested Old Town Karadar area to the newly developing locations in the vastly expanding Karachi metropolis. This had even great impetus in 1989 with the emergence of Shahid Hamid Bojani as president of the Karachi Jamaat. Those who knew him were struck by his spirit of enthusiasm and a burning desire that propelled him to take the Karachi Jamaat to the next level. He yearned to improve the quality of education and the economic status of the less endowed members of the society. Today, the various institutions under the Fatimiyya Education Network, with its girls and boys school, are the hallmark of the contribution of Shahid Hamid Bojani, making the Karachi Jamaat one of the most progressive in the world. His successor, late Dost Muhammad Bajani, continued this legacy by adding Fatimiyya Early Childhood School and the Fatimiyya Girls and Boys Colleges. Fatimiyya Hospital is a dream come true of Shahid Hamid Ali Bajani. Efforts of late Dost Muhammad Bajani and his team established this hospital, which offers compassionate medical care to all in the area. Political upheavals in the early 70s prompted some Khoja to settle in PCHS society in Karachi. Thus began the illustrious Mehfil-e-Mortaza complex. Mehfil-e-Mortaza quickly became a catalyst in the development of the Khoja community in Karachi. This plaque here is a reminder of a tragic event on Saturday the 24th of Ramadan, 25th February 1995. Martyrs in the cause of the community are not only a history of the past. As fate would have it, Hamid Bajani, with 15 others, were gunned down by terrorists in cold blood inside the mosque here at Mehfil-e-Mortaza on that fateful day.
In this original Karachi Qabristan, divided by a wall from the Ismaili graveyard, has graves of the early converts dating as far back as 1906. This large 4-acre Hussaini Bagh Qabristan is nearly full. Here lie many of the prominent second-generation Karachi Jamaat leaders, including Hamid Bajani, Dr. Sibtain Dosa, and Dost Muhammad Bajani, as well as Shani Haji, the former president of Mehfil-e-Mortaza.
In 1976, the World Federation of Khoja Shia Ithna-Asheri Muslim Communities was born.
And in 1975, I convened a meeting at Hammersmith, England, London, on 20th of September 1975. And I sounded the people present there as to whether we needed an umbrella organization or not. Because the small Jamaats had already been formed, principally everywhere. And there was a common consensus and assent that we needed one. So in 1976, October, the Constitutional Conference was convened and the World Federation was born.
The motivation was the same: to knit together the Jamaats formed by Khoja Shia Ithna-Asheri settled in England, the USA, Canada, other European countries, and the Middle East. Soon after the World Federation was formed, it spawned the formation of other regional bodies, like the North American Shia Ithna-Asheri Muslim Communities Organization, NASIMCO, Council of the European Jamaats, the Pakistan Federation, the Council of Gujarat, and the Kutch Federation. The community outreach networks facilitated by the World Federation through its regional affiliates are the envy of many.
Where will our community be in the next 30 or 50 years? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but as the Danish philosopher said, life must be understood backwards and it must be lived forwards. In addition to their trait of generosity and resilience, they had another remarkable trait, the spirit of inquiry. It was at these watershed moments in the history of our ancestors that they put their thinking caps on. When Pir Sadruddin came to Sindh, they were willing to be moved from their comfort zones and make a change. Centuries later, when they were again faced with the issue of their belief and their practice, they were not afraid to have that spirit of inquiry and make the change again. This trait of not accepting the status quo was not just in matters of faith. When famine and drought engulfed the Kutch and Kathiawar society, they were willing to make a change. They migrated across the ocean to Africa and made a new life for themselves. It is my firm conviction that if we continue to keep the spirit of inquiry alive, we'll be able to progress on this path, on this journey of faith that we started some 7 centuries ago. If not, then we will become mere joyriders on this merry-go-round of history.
الوارث الرشيد الصبور الذي ليس كمثله شيء